my dudes? It's your boy, Adam Ward. And joining me this week is a Latin and ballroom dancer, astrophysicist, and part owner of the Liverpool Arts Bar, Ben Cosgrove. In this episode, we talk space, Ben's start as a dancer, and navigating a new business in the times of COVID. So without further ado, this is episode 9 of Your Boy Cancelled, your boy's Anti-Loogie.
Hi, it's Ben Cosgrove, and this is Your Boy Cancelled with Adam Ward.
So, my dudes, it's your boy, Adam Ward, and joining me on this week's show is a Latin and ballroom dancer, astrophysicist, and part owner of Liverpool Arts Bar, as well as having the absolute best calves in the biz, which sadly you can't see upon this recording. Ben Cosgrove, how's it going, sir?
All right, mate. I think the calves should have been higher up in the list, to be honest.
I should have said them
That's
first.
what I'm known for, innit?
It is true. I should have said them first. I've never seen you not in shorts.
No, that's true. I am a fan of shorts. They burn hot, mate. They burn hot. What can I say?
Got to get those calves in, man. We've got to see those calves.
I wish I could. I'm in the Arts Bar office, funnily enough, right now, and there's no webcam in here, so I can see you, but you can just see a logo that says Liverpool Arts Bar.
It's a classy look.
It's all right, isn't it? It's all right.
So, Ben, Latin and ballroom dancer, great calves, astrophysicist, bar owner. It's safe to say you're a dime a dozen, isn't it?
Yeah. I think everybody has the same kind of threads to their bow, shall we say.
I've heard it so many times. All those dancing astrophysicists. There's so many of them.
I know, mate. I know. Where do you think they got Dancing with the Stars from? Thank you. Right, I'm out of here.
It's 10 a.m, but he's going in. He's got that heat.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm still running off last night's energy, man.
So it was the relaunch of Liverpool Arts Bar last night. How did it go?
Oh, mate, it was mad, you know. It's definitely one of the strangest shifts we've ever had because we were turning people away. Yeah, because as soon as we're full now. That's it. So it was bookings and ringing people back, and people had gone to the Pen and Fredericks and they're having to down their drinks and run back because I could only hold the table for 10 minutes, and it was a different arts bar experience, but the vibes were definitely there last night.
That's good because it's a funny thing because whenever I go, I'd regularly go sort of pre-COVID and lockdown. I just go on my own and be like, I know I'm going to see people there, but it's a different vibe now because you've got to be like, well, I need to go with a group of people, and if I do see people there, how do I interact now? There's so many unknown questions with what the government are putting out now.
Mate, tell me about it. I mean, I don't know. All I will say is we've obviously, last night was the launch, the 18th, but we had been doing kind of like trialing stuff, seeing if our systems worked, and we wanted to make sure it was all right for the launch, really. So we'd been open kind of on and off for the week prior, just to get passing trade, get the word out, trialing all, because we've changed the whole menu. The drinks menu is pretty much brand new. Yeah, so new cocktails, new wines and stuff. So we've been trialing all that. And so, yeah, it was just one of them. Everybody has actually been pretty, on the whole, well behaved. I have to say, we've been kind of expecting to have to be like, look, guys, come on, we've got to tick these boxes here. But everybody's been sound with it, and they get it. Like, it's so hard, as you say, in this bar where people want to just go over and be like, oh, so-and-so said I should talk to you because you write stuff and I'm after a writer or whatever. Like, we had someone last night going, I'm a table of 5, but this 2 will sit with that 3 over there, and these 2 will sit with that. And then you're like, and I was like, well, look, that's fine, but come next week, come Tuesday, we can't be doing that. You'll have to all leave and then come in again and say to me, oh, we all live together, or we're all coming as one table. So I don't know how we're going to do it. And there's no, and I'll be honest, I don't know how political we want to get on this podcast. Can I cancel the government, Adam? Is that?
Yeah, well, I was about to get to that. What are you cancelling?
I've got a few things, and if you want to just keep asking me throughout, I was going to go hard with, I want to cancel Twitter. Just get rid of it.
Why is that?
I just think it's pretty negative, man.
Yeah.
I know that people break. I know that it's obviously the government like to announce stuff on there these days, and it's quite a good source of information. But I think compared to the noise of the negativity, I don't think it works. I do, as a platform, I don't know.
I think that's really fair because, interestingly, on the last episode, I cancelled summertime football Twitter because, as a football fan myself, there's so much toxicity around that, with players not signing new contract, people want to get new signings in. It's an awful place to be, particularly in the summer. And there's all the fans going against each other and all that kind of stuff, and it gets really awful and nasty. So yeah, I think that's a really fair cancellation because.
Well, I mean, I'm wholly on board with that, and then it just kind of expands to everything. Like because it's so easy to share information on Twitter, you get into look behind the scenes in which you wouldn't normally. So like that information wouldn't necessarily be available for people to have an opinion on anyway. Yeah. I don't know why people need to comment on things that may have never happened.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, completely.
Whereas Instagram, you can kind of put a photo up, but you can't take a photo of something that never happened. So, yeah. And I mean, things do change. Like there have been cases, haven't there, where Twitter and social media has changed outcomes and stuff. Yeah. But that's fine when it's been decided and you can try and change a decision that you not necessarily agree with. I mean, one of the main things that I've kind of been reading about recently is the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League and how Joss Whedon shot it, and then the fans were like, we want to see the Snyder cut, and it's all been redone, and he's getting an HBO series out of it, and that was like a 3-year Twitter thing from his fans. And like, I get that, because that was something that could have happened, but was set to happen, but he had to withdraw for family reasons and stuff like that. So that sort of stuff. But there's got to be easier ways than having all the negativity attached to it.
No, completely. It was like, it is good for things like that. I remember seeing when Del Toro was supposed to do The Hobbit, and it was on Twitter that a load of his original Hobbit images came out of things he wanted the film to look like. So it's quite cool when you find out things like that from Twitter.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I don't know if you agree with me, Adam, but that's my opinion.
No, I think it's a fair opinion.
I have got another one as well. It's kind of more. Everybody can agree or disagree on this one. Milky coffee. Get rid of it. Cancel it.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than me ordering a black coffee and I get on a train and I take the lid off and they've put milk in, mate. Oh, it makes my blood boil hotter than the coffee.
I've just literally just finished my coffee now, and I only put a very small amount of milk in.
That's fine. I'm not saying no milk. I'm just saying milky coffee. Get rid.
And like I always say in every podcast, I'm still looking for some people to invest and grind coffee. I very much enjoy your pods. So if you're listening and want to invest in your boy's here for you.
Grind coffee, we're not cancelling you, especially if you reach out, mate.
And you know what as well? This is just a free plug for them, but I love their coffee. I was in London for a couple of days, and they do, if you go in for food, they do a thing where you can get one of these coffee tins, just so you can see.
Mate, they're smart.
They're cool, aren't they? And you get 20 pods in it. And I think normally it's like £15 or something like that. But if you spend like £30 on food, you get one for £5. So obviously got one while I was there.
Yeah, obviously, mate. We're going to have to describe that tin. Have you described that tin to the listeners before, Adam?
I've not, no, but I should do. So it's pretty sharp, isn't it? It's a pink tin.
Yeah, minimal design, but are they embossed? Are they embossed letters?
Oh,
mate?
They're embossed.
They look fantastic.
They are embossed letters.
I'd say it's almost like an Arial font, but you know when a graphic designer has designed it, and it's just that bit smarter than a classic Word doc.
Yeah, it's somewhere between Arial and Impact, I'd say.
Yeah. All about that.
Bold, but I'm all about that kind of styling. That's kind of my style. Clean lines.
Mate, I can see it. You're almost in heaven's waiting room there. It's an entire white room.
You know what I mean?
With an Arctic Monkeys poster in the background, which is also black and white.
Got some up on this side. Got some prints over there too. It's minimal, and I like it that way.
Just like grind coffee, eh?
Hey. Like. My God, why are they not giving us money for this? I'm cancelling, and it's more of a general one, and it's more so in COVID times, especially, that I notice it. But I didn't like it before, and that's spitting, Ben. I don't like spitting.
Mm-hmm.
When I was sat out the other day, having a coffee at a different place, I enjoy my coffee, Ben. Some guy walked past, spat twice, and everyone sat outside, like audibly stopped and looked. Because I think even more in these times, it's even more noticeable how horrible it is.
Those big gloops of spit,
and it wasn't
the
just
jellyfish.
And the worst part was that the road was like a long stretch. There was this outdoor coffee spot, then another long stretch of not really anywhere open. And it felt like the guy purposely spat where there were people sat. And that's why it irked me. Not about
mate,
that
100%.
at all.
I was once working in a restaurant. We had a little outside section, and I seen this guy smoking, and he put his cigarette out, and then he just spat on the floor, like next to the window. And I knocked on the window and went, "What are you doing?" And he went, "What? What?" And I was like, "You just spat on the floor." He was like, "I'm outside." I was like, "No, you're in a restaurant.
Yeah,
You're in a restaurant. Someone's got to sit there after you leave, and there's a big
exactly.
jellyfish on the floor." No, I'm not into that. You're right. Cancel it.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I felt the air as the spit went by.
Oh, that's great.
And like in these times, especially, like I've never liked it, but in these times, especially, you're like, oh, come on.
I get it. A fly goes into your mouth, you kind of cough and splutter a bit.
Yeah.
You don't need those big clumps of goop coming out of your mouth.
You don't need to be hucking no loogies.
No, mate. You can keep your loogies to yourself, listeners.
Keep those loogies to yourself, and we'll call the episode that.
There we go, then.
How did the Arts Bar start?
Oh, God. The Arts Bar started from a group of collectives who'd kind of graduated from John Moore's. And as you well know, Adam, it's quite difficult to make it in the arts industry unless you kind of pioneering your own stuff, which is, I guess, exactly how you started writing and putting those sorts of productions on yourself. And so a group of collectives got together and were like, look, we're all doing other jobs, but let's all try and be like, keep our ear to the ground, and any leads that we can get, we'll put into each other, pass them on to each other, and blah, blah, blah. And that was the Liverpool Arts Society, and that went on for about 2 or 3 years. Eventually they started putting on events. We worked with the Jacaranda, Phase 1, Hangar, Constellations, everywhere, all over the city, big venues and stuff like that, back when you could go to big venues. And I came on board to do a bit of choreography. At first it was, we were doing Prohibition was the first kind of immersive event we did. I cut like a 3-minute song together, and around the night we'd put that song on, and me and my dance partner at the time would jump out and do the routine. Wherever we were, and that was kind of like our immersive aspect. And then it kind of got on, developed from that to getting the actors to actually do some dancing themselves in and amongst it. So the first one we kind of choreographed the whole event for was for Homecoming, which was the downstairs of Heebie-Jeebies. We turned into a 1950s school prom. And so it was like everybody was doing rock and roll kind of thing. So all the actors had learned rock and roll, and we'd kind of just been doing it for like 6 to 10 weeks. So throughout the night, they were all kind of jiving and bopping away, which really got people involved. And then from there, I mean, we'd always been looking for like an office in town. Our office at the time was based in the Invisible Wind Factory, which was great. It was a perfect place to like launch from, but it was just a little bit too far out of town.
It was a great space though.
It was great, wasn't it? It was perfect for what we needed at the time. And everybody in there it was a real community, and we all kind of felt quite welcomed by it, because some of them have been there for 10-15 years, you know, and they used to do little things like they'd cook like a massive vegan curry and just be like, look, anybody help yourselves? And we'd just be sat in there on a Saturday morning being like, yeah, sound all right, we'll come and have some curry. And then so as I say, it kind of developed, and we managed to get hold of an office up on Hope Street, which is where the bar is now. And then through that, we'd always been looking for a venue to just really give back and push our events, because it's always hard contacting people and trying new ideas. And, you know, you've got to have a bit of a track record to be like, this event works and this event works. Whereas we knew that we could push it, and if something worked, it worked. And if something didn't work, we didn't want to have that disappointment where now if we put an event on and it doesn't work, or if people are trialing an event and it doesn't work, it's fine. We just dust ourselves off and think about what we can do differently. So we managed to get a hold of 22 Hope Street. Our original idea, it's just evolved, man. Like, as you know, Adam, it's a hub of itself. I felt like to begin with it was us four, so me, Alex, Tom, and Jordan. Between the four of us, like Al does some direction, Wilson's like an MD music guy, and Jord does all the sound and tech, and then obviously I do the dancing. So between the four of us, we kind of thought that's how it was going to be. But now I think there was a hole in the creative community for kind of grassroots music, grassroots theatre, just you know, places places to put stuff on that isn't perfect yet, and it isn't ready for big venues. As I say, we've got this community now where people really do support everybody. So like, it doesn't matter if you've never done a gig before in your life, but you know that you can play guitar and rock out, come down, we'll be able to slot you in somewhere, and everybody who's in here will give you that chance to kind of try it and see if it works. So it's actually, yeah, I'd say it's outgrown the four of us now, and it's a place where people actually do, as you say, come and just not even try and meet someone. They come and they leave with three best mates or three people they're going to work with in the future, and we're all pretty proud of that. Unfortunately, that kind of aspect of it's gone, but we're definitely working on Arts Bar 2.0, which is what we're kind of aiming for next. It's still got the same vibe, and I think we're going to really develop it into something new, man. It's exciting.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I think I said it at one of your Jack nights ages ago. But yeah, it feels like there is a real scene and movement going on in terms of the arts in Liverpool at that grassroots level. And yeah, the bar just feels like the culmination of all that, and feels like more things when it's possible will start happening again. There's a lot of cool things going
on. We've been working with the Arts Council over lockdown, actually, and they've given us like loads of advice and stuff, and got us in touch with a few people. The good thing to come out of COVID was we wouldn't have necessarily thought that we would be a place, because we're a bar and people see that and go, look, well, they just sell beer and they just sell drinks. But actually, we've managed to, with the help of the Arts Council and actually like Liverpool Council as well, we've helped realise that actually maybe we are more of an arts culture hub than a bar, which wasn't something we aimed to do, to be honest. We thought we'd be an events company that had a venue. People have kind of demonstrated to us that actually we might be in a position to be able to offer something that places can't at the moment.
You kind of touched on it quite a bit there, but how has it been navigating a new business in COVID times?
I'll be honest, the government have made things very, very difficult. However, local Liverpool Council have been unreal. The Arts Council have been unreal. They honestly can't do enough. Like even now, so we, as I say, we've done that bit of a soft launch from last Friday, and then last night was the big opening. We had licensing in who come and see whether you're following the rules and stuff. And this was before we were even open. And so they're obviously on everybody's case. And we were expecting them to come down on us like a ton of bricks, really, just making sure that we had everything sorted. But they couldn't have been nicer. And I think everybody's kind of, even the authority figures kind of feel like they're in a position of, we're all in this together. Like, if you aren't ticking a box, they're not going to shut you down. It's we'll show you how to fix this kind of thing.
Yeah,
but that's as I say, that's a local level. We've had real issues with the grander scheme of things. But yeah, big shout out to Liverpool Council, the Arts Council, and the European Union have given us some legal advice, and it's the support we've been given, as well as, I have to say, all our listeners we did loads of online stuff over lockdown, and the viewers and listeners of that, the support really got us through it, because there was a point in which we kind of thought we might not be able to open again.
Yeah.
And we were doing like our little pub quiz and stuff like that, and seeing people come in week in and week out. And we're still getting messages about it now saying, when are you doing the quiz online again? And we're kind of like, well, we're open now.
It was cool. And I think at the time people needed those things. Like we did the coffee mornings, and then you did the dance classes. I think those little things, I think, still made people feel like the arts community was out there. And I think that definitely helped a lot of people.
We did it for about 10 weeks, and it honestly flew by. And the only reason we stopped is because we actually had to come back to work pretty much and get the venue ready again. So we had a load of work to do, like building work and stuff. Like people were asking why we weren't open in July and things like that. And there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that if you were coming to the bar day in, day out, you wouldn't have necessarily noticed. But when we took over the bar originally, we only had 4 days to get it ready. So there was still a lot of work that we'd wanted to do from then, and we still haven't managed to do it all, but hopefully with this curfew coming in, we can get everything ready so that when we get back to normal again, we'll consider it ready.
I didn't realize it was only 4 days, because when I came in when you very first opened, I remember it felt like such a different space from what it had been before.
Yeah, honestly, mate, spent about 150 quid on some paint, and just a lot of hard work, and it was like 12-hour days for 4 days pretty much. 4 solid days. And then the Friday morning, we were just like, right, we're going to have to open. It was just like a tidy up job and blah, blah, blah. And we were just like, yeah, it's all hands on deck and we just kind of go. It was, the main thing was, obviously a big selling point about the bar is we have a load of local artwork that's for sale, and we didn't think that we were going to get much. So we were inundated when we put that post out on the Art Society and the Arts Bar's Instagram and Facebook, and that really helped decorate the place. Whereas now, obviously, we've got a new mural in from Molly Mural. It's unreal. That kind of takes the place of the backstage where we had a load of artwork hanging, but we've kind of condensed it and streamlined it so you know where you're looking for the artwork that's for sale now. It's in the corridor and it's in the library. So if you wanted to have a little look at local artwork for sale, that's where you're going to find it. Honestly, as you've seen the mural, I don't know how she did it in 2 days. Molly absolutely flew up and down a ladder with spray paint. She was like Batman, had a utility belt on with loads of different coloured spray paint. It was just spraying like octopus arms everywhere. It was mental.
No, it is an amazing mural.
Cancel.
So I first met you as a choreographer. How did dancing come into your life, and why has it stayed so prevalent within it?
Dancing was what I kind of stumbled onto it, but I'll get onto that in a minute. It comes from music, you know. I used to play piano when I was a kid. I don't know, you probably feel like this, Adam, as well. But there's certain pieces of music that it hits you in your gut, and whether it's I've got to play it and you know you're not going to do it justice, and you're not going to invoke that emotion in someone else from it, but you just want to express yourself to a piece of music. That's kind of the way I've described it.
No, I definitely get that. There's certain songs,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, completely. There's certain songs that I'll hear and I'll think, I wish I'd written that. Or I'd love to write something like that has that effect.
Yeah, and it's even things like, I can't tell you the difference, but there'll be an Italian song, right, that I'll just hear randomly. And I'll be like, that is like, I always describe it as, it doesn't matter what type of music it is, but you know if a song's good or not.
Completely.
You just have that feeling, don't you? So I don't even know what the lyrics are. I don't even know what instruments are being played. But by God, that is a good song. And it's that kind of feeling, and that's kind of where it started, really. So I'd always had this affinity to music and wanting to play it. And I used to sing when I was in it as a kid and stuff. But I'd always been good at science, was the thing. So I kind of gone down that route because, I don't know, maybe I was shy, I'm not sure. But you're never sure as a kid, and it's always hard. And then when I got to university, a good friend of mine, Charlie Colburn, he went to Camp America, and when he came back, he was like, look, we need to try loads of new things because I've been away this summer and we need to expand our horizons, we used to call it. We need to expand our horizons. So I went, all right, okay. So he said he'd sign me up to something at Freshers Fair, and I'd sign him up to something. And he signed me up to ballroom and Latin dance classes. Didn't tell me what it was, just told me the place and the time. And I turned up and I walked in, Adam. Have I told you this before?
No, you've never told me this.
Yeah, so I walked in and there's about 10 couples all dancing a waltz. Right, and it was like a scene from a film. It was almost like I'm running, and it's all in Technicolor, and I open the door, and everything's in black and white, and they're all in tail suit, and there's spotlights on, and they're all just whizzing, they're all spinning circularly round the floor. And I remember thinking, I've actually never seen anything like this. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I walked out and I rang my mum and went, he signed me up for ballroom and Latin lessons. And she was like, oh, go in, you might enjoy it. So I was like, you know what? I don't like quitting anything. So I went in, and the teacher went, all right, grab a partner. And then honestly, 20 girls came over to be like, oh, do you want to be my dance partner or whatever? And at that point, I was like 19. I was 18. I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll stick around. Yeah.
I can figure this out.
Yeah. Go on then. I'll stay for an hour. And I got partnered with this girl. I mean, it's been 12 years now. It was 11 years. Can't remember her name. But she'd done some dancing before. And she was like, oh, you're picking it up quite well. And that's another thing I like, rubbing my ego. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a natural at this. I was like, oh, loads of girls, and I'm good at it. All right, yeah, sound. So I went back the following week.
I think that's the only reason any of us get into the arts in the first place. It's that,
that
thing of someone saying to you, you're really good at this, and going, hey, I am good at this. I need to go all in on this now.
And it's not until you actually start becoming or becoming a novice at it, and then you go, oh no, actually I'm awful.
Yeah,
I'm actually awful at this. And I'm not even lying here, man. After about a month, 2 months, I'd walk home from this hall and I'd be practicing waltz steps as I'm walking down the street, leaving the bloody venue. Like, I'd have the music on in my headphones and I'd be 1, 2, 3 in down the street, and then a car had come past and I'd just be like, I'd just carry on walking. It honestly felt like something from a film, man. And that was my first kind of like 6 months of dance, and then I never looked back, really. I was doing at the time I was doing a master's in astrophysics, so I'd signed up to do my master's before I'd even done my undergrad, because you could sign up for 4 years, knowing you'd get a master's at the end, and it was cheaper than if you were to do 3 years and then a year. You don't have to go through UCAS twice and stuff like that. So if anybody sees Masters of Science degrees or whatever, 100% recommend those. You save a lot of money and you get in the 2 qualifications. I got 2 graduations, I got all sorts, so it was amazing. But yeah, so that was in my second year. So come to my 4th year, so my final year, I was not going to 9 o'clock lectures anymore, but I was going to 9 o'clock dance lessons. Like, that just really changed my whole career path, really. I'd made the decision that once I graduated, I was going to wholeheartedly pursue it and see how good I could get. I thought I'll give myself a year and really push myself in something that I wasn't necessarily a natural in. I know I said that this girl told me I was quite good and stuff, but you realize that as soon as you want to try and do something professionally, there's people that have been doing it since they're 3.
Yeah.
And that was the issue I found. Like, I was doing competitions and stuff like that, and unless you throw yourself wholeheartedly into something, I didn't want to get to 60 and go, I wonder what would have happened if I'd pursued that career in ballroom dancing, you know? And I mean, it's taken me to the Arts Bar, and we've got a little studio downstairs called The Bunker, which I've got a dance floor in, and we're getting mirrors and stuff fitted up. That'll be available from October kind of onwards. We're getting fully kitted out and stuff like that. So it's one of them. I always say this to people, like, if you're really passionate about something, pursue it. Give yourself a bit of time before you knock it on the head. And if you don't think you can make it, it's taken me this long to realize, like, I'm never going to be, I mean, it's not taken me this long, but like, it took me like 3 years to be like, I'm never going to be top 25 in the world, because they're all doing it for 45 hours a week. Yeah. And they've been doing it since they're 4. And I've always had to have a full-time job and try and fund it that way. But yeah, if anybody listening is wanting to do ballroom and Latin lessons, Liverpool has got 2 of the best teachers in the world, which is half the reason that I stuck with it for so long, because they have people, excuse me, it's not COVID, I'm clearing my throat. I was saying this to someone in the bar last night, actually. Liverpool, my teachers have people flying in from Japan, the United States, like South America, Russia, the Netherlands, and they all fly into Heathrow, and they get a train up to Liverpool and then a taxi up to County Road, right? Which is where the studio is. And these dancers must only see London, County Road in Liverpool, and Blackpool. Like, they're the only places they must see. And I always, like, if I bump into them in the studio, I always have to go, look, this isn't what England is. I know that these are the 3 places that you see, and one of them's London, and 2 of them are a dog food factory, and the Blackpool Tower. Like, it's not all like that, I promise. But yeah, Paul and Pauline Taylor are my ballroom and Latin dance teachers, and they are absolutely unreal. Ex-world champions, and their son's the current world champion with his partner Izzy. And if I am, it's one of them, like, you know, when you talk about doors opening and certain paths, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think I wouldn't have pursued it if it hadn't been for them being absolute masters of their craft, you know. And it's probably the same thing if you went to a cooking school and Gordon Ramsay was teaching you and you stuck with it for a bit. You'd notice that you were actually getting better quicker because of the caliber of the teacher, you know.
Yeah, makes a difference.
And that's what I felt like. And going to all the competitions and actually seeing me go through the ranks and actually go up, because they know what they're doing. They know how to best push you. And I was very, very lucky in terms of that. And then I've combined it with what I like as well, which is obviously that connection to music. And that's obviously, we go all the way back to Long John Silver, where we come in, and I hear you guys, the music you written, Adam, and stuff like that. And I was like, look, I feel it. I'm in it. I can see it. And then that's kind of where we met, wasn't it? As you say,
Yeah,
going
exactly.
full circle.
Do you have a highlight of your dance career?
I've got a couple actually. One was this year. It was in January. My current dance partner Abigail Milner, big shout out. We got invited with my old university team to go and do every year they have like university nationals. So they have you have like a sectional, a regional, and then a national. And they have this ex-students category. And I'd always wanted to make the final in that, just to prove to myself, I have improved since being in university and stuff. So it's like the highest, it's like the most advanced category you can enter in the university competitions. And we made the final this year, and it's in Blackpool, and you're looking around and you're like, look, I've actually improved a lot I've actually learned a skill in 10 years. And I was quite proud of that. Me and Abby have had a few moments like that over the past sort of we've been together 2 years, but I mean, not really, because 9 months of that this year we weren't allowed to dance together, so it's been difficult. Another one, me and my old partner Beth, first time we made a European final. The feeling of us, because they announced the results in the morning, then you dance in the evening. So we danced, and then we got the recalls to the final at like 11:30, and I was just buzzing from 11:30 all the way through then till like our final was something like 10:30 at night. So we danced that, and that was an amazing feeling. And then the last one kind of stand out is there's every year in Bournemouth there's the UK Close Championship. So as I say, you kind of do competitions every Sunday. If you're in the professional circuit, like any sport, you've got to keep doing competitions to get your ranking up. So if you were to do tennis, unless you're like Federer or Andy Murray or whatever, Djokovic, you don't have that seed position, so you've got to make sure you have enough points. And so you want to come to these competitions every week to try and get enough points that you finish top of the league and stuff like that. And me and my old partner Beth, it was when we were doing it like full time, we ended up in the top 3 for 2 categories. For 4 categories, both ballroom and Latin, and 2 categories in each. But that meant that we had to dance like something like 36 times, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So by the time we'd ended that, we were absolutely flabbergasted. At the time, it was the division that we were dancing in and the division above where we were dancing in that we managed to get into the top 3 of each. So it was like the last 4 rounds were Latin. So you always end with a jive, which is like the most energetic of all the Latin dances as well. And it was an absolute killer. Like afterwards, like we did really well. We were amazed with the results, and it was amazing. But I had to just for about 45 minutes when I got into my hotel room, I had to just sit down in the shower and just have it on the hottest heat, and I was just burning my legs because they were just lead. And the following day we were meant to dance again at something like 8:30 in the morning. Because it's like a 4-day competition, and it's different judges every day and different competitors every day. But the Thursday and the Saturday are the ones you want to kind of do well in. So that was the Thursday. And we had to withdraw from the Friday because we wanted to do well in the Saturday. And we were like, if we're getting up because by the time we got in, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. By the time you've shaken hands with all the judges and collected your prizes and stuff. So we were like, we can't get up. She'd have to get up at 5. Because it was 1 o'clock in the morning. She'd have to get up at 5 to get ready for 8. And we were like, no, we're not doing this. So we didn't end up doing it. But we were still just buzzing that whole day. We were just buzzing because it was quite an achievement for us. We were made up with that. I mean, I've been very lucky, I have to say, Adam. I've performed all over Liverpool. Performed in St George's Hall. Performed in the Palm House. Performed in the Epstein. Done all sorts, and I'm very happy with it all.
And it is true what you say. I think I was very much the same in terms of theatre, because I went into teaching. I'd been teaching for a few years, but there was always that part of me that thought I could go and do something else with this. And I remember whenever I was home and I'd be playing guitar, my mum would always say to me, "Oh, your talent's wasted. You should be doing something with this." And then you don't want to live with regret, like you were saying before, and you need to go out and see if you can do this on a professional level.
It's a problem in it. It's addictive, and you want to constantly chasing those performance highs. And I think that's kind of the reason that I've stuck with ballroom and Latin so long. It's you're getting constant gratification of, yes, we made another round, or yes, we've made it 2 places higher than we did before. And it's addictive. We call it the ballroom bug. And honestly, I've not met anybody who I've taught or anybody I've seen have a lesson off one of my teachers or something like that. Everybody loves it. Like, it is such a rewarding thing to be able to move to music as well as doing a skill, and it's exercise. It's great. What was I going to say then? Yeah, another main thing for me is dancing is normally, well, I don't know, not normally, but ballroom and Latin to me stands out because you're sharing that experience with someone. It's a two-way. It's a 2-person thing. So like, you're a team and you share those highs and you share those lows. And that's another thing that stands out to me. It's not, and even if one of you goes wrong, you're both taking that fault and moving on from it. And it is hard. And when you're practicing 10 hours a week, you know, it can get difficult of going like, I think I'm doing this right, or you think you're doing this right. But I've been very lucky with the fact that I've always got on with my dance partners. And Abby, who's my current dance partner, has been a friend of mine since she was actually like one of the best dancers I'd ever seen when I first started. She was like the best dancer in the Liverpool team. And then she stopped for about 4 or 5 years. She moved down south. And then when she actually moved back up to Liverpool, she was looking for a dance partner. It just so happened that I was looking for one. So when she left, I was a beginner. And then she's come back, and I've like kind of tried to almost catch up to where she was when Yeah. And so that's another thing. I think it's worked well. We've been friends for all that time. And so she gets where I've come from, and we work well together, and we have a laugh doing it, which is half the battle.
Without a doubt. So am I right in thinking you were a resident astrophysicist for a podcast, for a film podcast? Is that right?
Yeah. Big shout out to Ready Steady Remake. Guy's called Rich and Rach. So Rich works for Bongo's Bingo now. He's one of the Bingo's callers and works for Johnny Bongo all over the world. He goes. And Rach, Tomo Thompson, she's like a teacher and a musician in her own right. And that kind of started by them having questions about, can't remember what the first episode was now. I think it was Alien. They wanted to see how much of the science of Alien would be real. And so we were kind of talking about sulfuric acid and whether that could be a blood. And it turns out, yeah, probably. You probably can. Sulfur works in a similar way to how we use iron and hemoglobin in our blood. You'd use sulfuric acid would be a way to transport energy and oxygen round a body and stuff like that. So, you know, there is science in the madness. And I went on to do E.T. and Back to the Future, Predator. Anytime there was a bit of science fiction, they'd get me into, and we kind of discussed the aspects of it all. And I pushed. That was one of the things that got me back into science. Really, I was learning like almost high concepts that weren't really my field of expertise, and always trying to understand them as an astrophysics point of view, really, and do my best to explain them in a way that I didn't have to explain what parallel world theory is and stuff like that.
Very quickly, do you believe, this is a more general kind of spacey question, but do you believe in life outside our own planet? And do you believe the possibility that at some point our descendants could live on another planet?
Right. So number one, there's an equation that you can kind of plug in some numbers for, and it is to determine how many planets you'd expect advanced intelligent life to be on. And you plug in the numbers estimates, because obviously we don't know everything yet. And you plug in the numbers, and we should be receiving like 14 million signals a day from intelligent life, and we're not getting any. So there's I mean, I don't know if you've seen recently, they think they've discovered microbial life on Venus.
Yeah.
And that's a big breakthrough. 2 reasons why. Because they weren't expecting to find anything on Venus. They were just using it as a reference point to point these telescopes at other planets and try and find some. And so they pointed at this planet going, right, there's categorically no life on Venus. So we'll find a base level of this gas that we want to use. And they pointed at it and went, well, that seems high. So then they did it for 20 years. You know, this experiment's been going on since the 90s. And it's only just been because the latest telescope they've used has got such a high resolution that the margin of errors are so small that they're like, no, there's these little bacteria that are producing these gases in the atmosphere on Venus. Which is, you kind of go, right, well, because we don't think any life can happen because it's so acidic, it's so hot, it's so, as I say, acidic, it's so inhospitable on Venus that you'd go, there's no way life could happen on there. But turns out it can. So then you go, right, well, that's amazing. We found life on other planets. Amazing. So if it happens on Venus, surely it can happen everywhere. And then you go, well, actually, look, if it's happened on Venus, why isn't it everywhere? So that's it's a scary thing. So you go, our numbers must be way off. But 100%, man, there's even if it hasn't caught up to us yet, there's life out there, man.
Yeah.
100%.
I completely agree.
Too big.
Yeah, space is so vast that it just seems insurmountable that we'd be the only planet that could have life on it. It's
difficult because, so we obviously looking at our solar system, right? Like Copernicus and stuff like that, we're kind of saying, look, if you put heavy thing, imagine a vinyl player and you have that spinning away and you put loads of dust on it, okay? What you'll find is that the heavy stuff stays near the center and the light stuff goes towards the edge. So what you tend to find is that you have heavy rocky planets near the center, near the sun, and you have these gas planets. No matter how big they are, it doesn't particularly matter. They're made up of smaller, lighter materials. They're thrown towards the edge of the vinyl record. So you have these heavy planets, so the heavy rocky planets in the middle, at the center, and these gassier planets towards the edge. And that all makes sense based on the physics we know. And as soon as we started looking at other galaxies and other solar system, you realize that quite a large percentage of them have their giant gas planets at the center and their rocky planets on the outside. And you go, hang on, that's the opposite to what. So we've come up with this scientific model of this is how life forms, and there'll be a Goldilocks zone in this region, and there'll be a rocky planet, and there'll be water and all that stuff. And you just literally look at the next galaxy and go, oh no, that's not what's happening. Okay, going back to the drawing board. But because it keeps us on our toes like that, we're trying to base it on what we know. And there's other chemical processes. There's other. Nature's too weird for it not for us to know what's going on. Yeah. So like you'd expect, we're carbon-based life forms, but there's nothing to say that you can't have a silicon-based life form. And if that's the case, we don't know how that would form. So we don't know what environment you'd need to survive that. You'd always need water, we think. You're always going to need water. But then there isn't much water on Venus. So you need electricity. You need heat, electricity, and a bit of sunlight. Most of those planets have that. So, I mean, yeah, 100%. What was the second question? Do I think descendants will be able to colonize other planets?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not far off that now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was explaining this to someone. Mars. Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk's going to Mars next year or something, isn't he?
That's what he says, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, him and Kanye West.
I'm sure you can already book your trips there.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't get there, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to blame it on COVID, won't they? But
it's always a good excuse.
Yeah, man, 100%. I mean, that you need 256. I don't know why I know this fact. You need 256 tomato plants to provide enough oxygen for one person. So it's not a lot. Yeah. So all you need to do is take water and tomato seeds. Yeah. And you just grow some plants while you're out there. Everybody's seen The Martian. Yeah. You just need some potatoes. You're laughing.
Then you're done. And that's what Elon Musk will be doing with his tomato seeds.
It's Kanye West and his tomato seeds and Elon Musk on Mars.
Space cars.
Yeah, mate.
So you run the Arts Bar podcast. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it started as Noisy Neighbours, which was basically just a platform to interview people on. We've had Joe Sherlock on there, guest on your podcast, and it kind of just developed, really. We were interviewing people that were having shows on in the Hope Street Theatre, and we were interviewing, we were quite lucky enough to meet Zuzu, who's an up-and-coming pop superstar straight out of Liverpool, and it was just kind of, an interview platform, really. But over lockdown, we'd been kind of wanting to do our podcast again, but we were unable to kind of get the guests on, and Zoom was difficult in arranging a time. So we just stripped it all back, really, and it's just us four chatting absolute nonsense. And I think it's completely different. Again, we've just flipped the podcast on its head, really. We've done We've talked about songs that have a story in, which has if anybody listens to it, I'd recommend Arts Bar podcast. Listen to, I think it's episode 6 or 7, and just listen to the last 10 minutes of that, because I host it and then the 3 lads just kind of chat away. But I absolutely lose it. I'm just laughing my head off for about 10 minutes straight. And it's because this song by Young Gravy called Cheryl. It's the strangest lyrics I've ever heard in my life, but it's hilarious. It's so good. But yeah, other episodes, I mean, we're just chatting nonsense really. But as you mentioned the coffee mornings, Adam, and we were just doing like live Zoom calls every Sunday over lockdown as well. And I've just been kind of editing them and streamlining them and getting them out as well. But we've been doing a
link to the Arts Bar podcast in the description of this.
Yeah, man. Like, just check it out, guys. Like, it's not something we'll be doing every week, I don't think, because we don't have much time anymore. But maybe while curfew's on and stuff like that, we're definitely going to be doing a few more episodes anyway. I've got one in the bank that I just need to edit and get out. Really, we talk about every James Bond theme tune. I'm a big James Bond theme tune fan. I kind of summarize it for the lads and see if they'd have it see if it goes into the James Bond halls of fame or not. And so we had a bit of a laugh with that, but that's quite a long one. I might do that over 2 parts, but we're going to start doing, I think we might do a coffee morning or 2 just to kind of chat about what's been going on and stuff like that. So we'll be getting them out.
Cancel.
Okay, so to finish off the episode, I always finish the episode on an unusual story.
Is this like an unusual incident, Adam, or is it just an
unusual story? Just an unusual thing. It varies from episode to episode what this thing is going to be, but it's actually something I saw on Twitter the other day, and it's just...
Hang on, we've cancelled Twitter. Can you say you found it on Reddit or something?
I saw it on Facebook.
Oh, this is today or yesterday?
Yeah, it's brand new news. It
is brand new news.
Yeah.
Morrison's respond after wet eggs sold in UK store.
Yeah, so this is sickening, to be honest, Ben. Morrison's, if you look down further in the story, there's a...
God, that is grim.
They're selling sacks of wet eggs. So it's just a big bag of eggs. And if you zoom in on the picture, it says that there's 5 eggs in there. There is a lot more than 5.
No, mate. There's about 20 eggs in there.
It's a cool hand Luke amount of eggs in that bag.
Boiled eggs. Listeners, I'm not being funny. There's upwards of 20 eggs in there.
I was going to say, my guesstimation of that is 25 eggs.
Yeah, but the other picture, the bag they've shown actually has less in than the rest of them. The rest of them have... But why are they next to the sandwiches?
Well, exactly, because someone's commented saying it's in the meal deal area. So is this...
Shut up.
Is this giant bag of eggs? Is that your main? Is that your snack?
No. That's God. It's a lot of eggs. It's a lot of eggs.
And I was very intrigued by this because I've seen this sack of wet eggs everywhere. So Morrison's about to come out and give a statement. What Morrison's have said is normally these disgusting sacks of wet eggs are in their salad bar at the Morrison's cafe, but when they don't sell their sacks of eggs, they just put them on the shelf for people to have. I can't think of anything more horrific than a sack of wet eggs.
Adam, can I swear on this podcast or not? I think I've felt... Oh, mate, that is fucking disgusting.
It's horrendous, isn't it?
That is fucking vile. Morrison's have actually tweeted saying, Taylor Clark, I don't know who you are, but I'm agreeing with you, said, "This is the most cursed item I've ever witnessed. Was Peeps followed by eggnog," right? And then Morrison's have replied to her saying, "You see a cursed item, but all I see is a bargain." And they've hashtagged wet egg win. That is horrendous.
I'm properly retching at the thought of that. I'm
just going to quickly describe it for listeners, and unless you're going to tweet a picture of it, but it's in a blue. I mean, put it as the episode cover, mate, if you want. It's a blue food processed bag, like you kind of use for like a fridge bag or something, and it is full of boiled eggs in a type of brine. It looks like.
Yeah. It's a very urine-looking yellow.
I mean, it is, yeah, but eggs aren't wet.
It's horrendous.
Once you've cooked an egg, it's not wet anymore.
No, it's not. Especially a boiled egg.
Where's the wet coming from?
What is that liquid? I think that's the question Morrisons need to answer. What is that liquid?
I'll be honest. That is the question.
The top comment that makes me feel sick, but it's so apt, is why can I smell this through the screen?
I've just read that. That is grim, mate. Why can
It's
I can though. I really can.
Yeah, I can. I can practically taste it.
God.
And on that disgusting note, Ben Cosgrove, it's been a joy to chat to you as always.
You too, pal.
Our listeners, make sure you support your local businesses. So get yourself down to the Liverpool Arts Bar, have a mow, and support your local artists as well. It's a tough time for everyone out there, and we need to support each other. Ben Cosgrove, it's been a joy.
Thank you very much.